here's the question of the day after the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Give me some winners and losers from Super Bowl advertising.
Last night I think was not an A+ creative night.
See, we always say that the day after the Super Bowl. The ad people get together and they drink beers at 10:30 in the morning.
Not as good as it used to be.
10:30 in the morning, and they go, these ads are terrible. Ours were better 10 years ago. How come none of the advertising in the Super Bowl isn't good anymore?
That's true, but Dave's right on this one.
Yeah.
It was a sad and mildly amusing Super Bowl. But in terms of memorable spots, there were few.
Yeah.
There were few.
Yeah, I do think there was a conscious effort, with the exception of the Jesus Gets Us commercials.
Yeah, those were cool.
Which I thought worked, but there was a conscious effort to keep it light this year. We were talking a little earlier about some of the ads. I'm coming around to the Jack Harlow triangle Doritos, Doritos bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's his smile, if it's his personality, if it's the fact when the triangle hits, it actually sounds like a little trap music hi-hat. It was pretty well done.
Yeah.
That spot made me smile. The pet food spot.
Oh, over the years.
Oh.
Over the years.
Yeah. That was really nice.
Well, at first I couldn't.
It was almost indistinguishable from the Amazon spot.
Yes.
With the dog.
That's true.
Sort of aging
There was
over.
an aging
The
dog.
Amazon spot
Yeah.
had me. I did not see the end coming because I thought they were just going to finally start taking the dog with them.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
right.
You look out the window and the dog's always looking out the window. Oh, they're
That
going
would
away
have been
without
an
me.
easier solution to that
Yeah,
problem.
I'm like, just buy a kennel, take your dog in your truck to wherever you're going.
Yeah.
Don't leave your pit bull alone in the house.
Because he's tearing the crap out of your house.
He's tearing the crap out of it.
Right.
And then they get him another dog? You think the house isn't going to be like doubly shredded next time they come home?
As
It
soon
was
as
a
they
sweet- it
got
was a sweet
both
ad,
those dogs just wrecked the crap out of
just
that.
Yeah,
shredded.
there's no question about it.
Yeah, but the other one, now this is the problem. I'm forgetting the brand name.
Farmers dog food. This is the problem.
This is the problem. They didn't lean quite hard enough on the name, but I kept thinking, you start to realize, man, this dog is hanging around a long time.
Yeah.
You're seeing children. This dog's what, 14, 15? How old is
And then
this
it was getting
dog?
grayer, like the
What's
age of the
going on?
dog, so that was okay.
Yeah, and then you realize, oh, that's actually the point.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right. You got
it actually had a
That's right.
point.
Just
Yes.
wait to the end, Dave.
You should do this for a living.
Yeah, that was quite well done too.
I like the Workday rock stars. I thought they were fun. You didn't like that.
I didn't like that.
Why not?
Well, one, I thought these were the aged out rock stars.
Totally
For
were.
sure.
I think that's why I liked them.
So I'm sure that, there are a lot of
identify with
boomers
those
out
rock
there
stars?
saying, by God, that's a good spot.
I thought the premise was great though. Like you could have made that a 15-second ad, and I would have loved you just because to actually point out that you're not actually a rock star just because you came up with a really nice PowerPoint presentation. That's a strategy statement.
Yes.
That's great.
This is the strategy nerd in me that made me like that ad, which is
Okay,
like, okay,
yeah.
there's an observation about the world that somebody made and then somebody did something with. You know,
Yes.
we need to
Yes.
stop calling each other rock stars. We're not rock stars.
At least it had an idea, which put it among the top 10, no doubt.
At least.
I was going to point out a very similar strategy. Someone needs to make this ad too. There's an ad that's chasing me on LinkedIn that's all about a day in the life of a founder. All about how hard it is to found a business, which it is, but they capitalize founder. Like you're talking about Thomas Jefferson.
Like George Washington.
Yeah, you're not you started a company.
Yeah.
You're not a founder.
I think the whole evening got buried under celebrities. I mean, I've
Mhm.
never seen more celebrities at a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Every spot had 1 or 2 or 5 of them, and they often seemed almost thrown in. There was a Google ad that talked about how you can correct your photographs on,
Yeah, right.
on your phone.
Yep.
And about halfway through, all of a sudden we get, oh, there's a celebrity in this ad too.
Yeah.
Why even bother?
Yeah.
It contributed nothing to
Yeah.
the ad.
Yeah.
And
That was
and
a tricky ad in particular because they made you think it was an Apple ad the whole time.
yeah, you
And then
weren't
at the
sure
end,
who
you
who
know,
it was for.
fix it with Pixel was the phrase at the end, which is cool, but you're watching it the whole time. I was thinking it was an Apple ad. So just strategically, you've got 50 of these 60 seconds, people are thinking about Apple.
Yeah, which
At
is
least I was.
such a departure from one of my favorite Super Bowl ads of all time, which is Parisian Love, a Google ad that ran years
good.
ago, beautifully
So
done.
good.
No actor, just a beautiful, relevant spot that could be done by no one else but Google. And I think that's what we lost. We lost brands
Yeah.
to celebrities. We remember the celebrities and not even the brand they were for. I mean, Hollywood made a bunch of money last night. This was a year that everyone knew was going to be softer on controversy. And it
Mhm.
probably should be, because advertisers rightly look at the cultural zeitgeist and they say, what should we serve up this year? Well, we've been beaten down
Yeah.
by COVID, by war, by economic distress and inflation, by highly contested elections, by cultural challenges and reawakenings, both good and bad, that have made us feel a little shell-shocked. And advertisers rightly said, let's just give them sweet,
Yeah.
tasty candy.
Make them smile, make them laugh.
Make them smile.
Candy made out of clams, apparently.
Candy made out of clams. I'm still scratching my head about that one. So I get it, but I think the challenge is that most of those ads would have been good on any other day of the week. We expect more of Super Bowl. And interestingly, we have trained the viewers to expect more from the Super Bowl advertising.
I think that's true. We may have raised expectations so high that we can't help but meet for a beer the next day and go, those ads just weren't very good.
So we've been talking about strategy, creative, and also the Super Bowl. And last night, I thought one of the losers of the night was a FanDuel ad built around a dumb stunt of a kickoff. It just completely fell flat. More importantly, it didn't really shed any light on the brand FanDuel. I think as a creative, when you're tackling something, how do you go deeper than just a gimmick or a stunt to really reveal something interesting about the brand or the people who love it?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, in my own creative experience, I don't think I've successfully sold a stunt concept ever. And I was often tasked with doing so. And so there are people who are particularly great at that kind of thing. I was not one of those people. I mean, I had to kind of default to storytelling, because for me, it's the only thing that can hold my attention. A really brilliantly done stunt has to have longevity, because it has to be something people want to retell. You know?
Right. Can't just be
did
that.
you hear that? Like the State Street Bank,
Oh,
Fearless,
yeah.
Girl. Fearless Girl.
Yeah.
That's a real stunt. Not only is the sculpture itself permanent, but it gets told again and again, as opposed to, oh, look what they did with their Super Bowl, $8 million or whatever it is. Maybe it gets talked about the next day.
If it has a point to it,
Mhm.
if it's making a point, it feels like it has meaning for the brand, and there's some, even if there's not longevity to the stunt, there's something very close to the surface of the stunt that makes a point about the brand. So
Right.
when Mini strapped itself to an SUV,
That
right?
was
okay, brilliant. I
Smart.
get
Cool.
it. It says something to me about this brand. But
Yeah.
when FanDuel hires Gronk to kick a field goal, and I go, well, what the hell was that?
It's
I
a
don't
PR
get
move,
it. What
you
was
know?
Yeah,
that?
it's
What
a
am I
gimmick.
supposed to think about that?
You hear a lot of talk about brand actions, right?
Yeah.
That was the phrase. It was not just your brand messaging, but your brand behavior. And so
Yeah.
behavior is like, well, okay, what do we do? Is it a pop-up store? Or is it a, do we sponsor this thing? Do we sponsor that thing? Do we do a crazy stunt? And I think there was initially a vogue and an excitement around that, because some brands were
Right.
doing cool things. As with almost everything except classic storytelling, the newness wears off, and then you're left with Gronk kicking a field goal.
Let's wrap up this conversation about the Super Bowl with a cheers to the real winner, Rihanna.
Ah, Rihanna.
She was freaking awesome.
She was great.
Yeah.
She was
It's a good
great.
show.
So to Rihanna.